There's still some places up front here, so you don't have to stand up there. You can come over here. There's places up here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Dear students, dear coaches, dear arbitrators, dear colleagues, dear friends, it feels so good to open the Vis in front of real people, not in front of my computer, and it feels so good to walk through the streets of Vienna and see excited Mooties and see people talking about the Vis Moot case again. I could already stop here and just enjoy the moments, but to let us all enjoy the moments, could we have the video, please?
Welcome. You know, sometimes we don't manage to be in the same place, but still be able to connect with each other. Sometimes we are here and there, in one place and another, from north to south, and west to east. Everywhere and anywhere. Hither and thither. In, at, and to various locations and times. And sometimes we don't have to change the distance and still be connected to each other. And even though wormholes are just a theory, we can prove that changing your place is possible within seconds. So, let's connect.
Let's connect. That is one of the main topics of the Vis Moot. So welcome also to all our Vis Mooties, friends and colleagues which are watching us from everywhere in the world. Sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes early in the morning, and also in the two other social bubbles we have started. The Vis bears the name of Willem Cornelius Vis. He was a world-recognized expert in international commercial transaction and dispute settlement, with a very distinguished career in several international organizations, including UNIDROIT and the United Nations. Some institutions very familiar to most of you. In particular, he was the Secretary of the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, UNCITRAL, and served as the Executive Secretary of the Vienna Diplomatic Conference that adopted the CSG, the United Nations Convention on Contracts for the International Sale of Goods. After he retired, he became a professor at Pace University. These last two career steps, being the Secretary of UNCITRAL and being professor at Pace University, he has in common with Eric Bergstein, the founder and the spirit director of the Vis Moot. Eric as well had a very distinguished career. But when you talk to Eric, he said, my major achievement started when I retired. And he's meaning the Vis Moot. So for him, participating in the Vis Moot, having generations of young students coming to Vienna, learning about peaceful dispute resolution, was the most important part of his life. We and Professor Bergstein himself very much regret that he cannot participate in person in the opening ceremony this year. He's watching from home and sends his greeting to everybody participating here in Vienna and all over the globe. This year has been a very challenging year. COVID is still affecting many countries and has made the preparation for teams coming from those jurisdictions difficult. Insofar, we are extremely happy that we can at least welcome some teams here in Vienna. And as I said, it really feels good. We're even more grateful that we are also able to welcome our teams from the Ukrainian universities. For these students, the Russian invasion turned their and their family lives upside down. Few of us can faintly imagine what it means to wake up and realize that your country has been invaded by a different country. We were extremely impressed by their resilience and their willingness to continue the Vis experience. We think that they should explain it themselves, how the war has affected their moot preparation and what it meant nevertheless for them. Could I have the video, please?
Dear Vis Moot community, good part of the day to everyone. In this video, Ukrainian teams would like to share their this year Vis Moot journey, interrupted by the unprovoked war of aggression launched by Russia against Ukraine.
Hello everyone, my name is Valeria and I'm from Ukraine, from beautiful Dnipro city.
My name is Oля, I'm from Ukraine, Kyiv.
I'm Vlada.
My name is Władysław Rudzinski, I'm from Novgorod-Volynski, Ukraine.
My name is Natalia Kichuk. I'm from Ukraine.
And this is
My Vis Moot journey.
I was extremely surprised when I was informed that I am chosen for this year's Vis Moot team. But happy as well, of course. Even more happy was during our preparation times, during our team meetings with coaches, team building sessions, and I extremely miss that time.
Everyone thought that this journey would be special, exciting, and it would change our lives.
But the morning on the 24th of February is a special one for me and for all Ukrainians, unfortunately in the bad sense. That morning at 5 a.m. I woke up because of the call of my best friend and also participant of last year Vis Moot team, Alexandra. Firstly, I was irritated, but then when I unblocked my phone, I saw plenty of messages. All of them were shouting that the war has started in Ukraine.
February was the most horrible day in my life. At first, I didn't believe that it was an explosion or that the war began, but unfortunately, it was a war. Each day was more dangerous than the previous day.
Everything changed. We do not meet with my team anymore. We prepare separately. We missed about 2 weeks of our preparation, and for that time I forgot my speech actually. But we all somehow got used to new conditions. Many of us volunteering. I thought that it was already bleeded from basement, and it was interesting. The mobile connection actually in the basement is better than Wi-Fi in my room.
When the team decided to continue participation in Vis Moot, I was extremely happy. The only issue was the internet connection. I didn't have internet at home, so I used to go to our neighbors for each practice session. But I'm still extremely proud of my team for standing together for our wish to support Ukraine, to plead for Ukraine, to participate in Vis Moot further.
I realized that my preparing for Vis must continue. So then we decided to go to the western part of Ukraine, because even one of my pleadings was in the car, because in my countryside there was no internet connection, no mobile connection, and we drove 40 kilometers from our house in the village in order to find some stable internet. So I was pleading in my car.
I think on the 6th or 7th day of the war, we decided to participate in Warsaw pre-moot. I remember that day sitting in the kitchen and pleading, and the siren started, but I couldn't really take it no longer, and actually didn't really care about it and just continued pleading. From that moment, I realized that we had to do something and to leave at any cost we had. So we grabbed our car, packed our things and just left.
Of course, my Vis Moot journey was paused, just like my university studies, my work, my internship, everything had this pause.
To end with, I would like to say, we are not victims, we are fighters, and whatever it takes, we keep participating in the Vis alongside with our international colleagues.
And I'm also thankful for the Vis Moot community and for all of the support we were receiving every day during our way. You made us feel that we are doing the right thing here.
I'm Ukrainian and I'm fearless.
I'm Ukrainian and I'm diligent.
I'm Ukrainian and I'm extremely persistent.
I am Ukrainian and I am freedom-loving.
I'm very purposeful.
I'm Ukrainian and I'm brave.
I'm Ukrainian and I'm hopeful.
I am Ukrainian and I'm optimistic.
Dear Vis Moot community, no, dear friends of Ukraine, thank you for all your support that we feel each minute. Thank you for standing with us in these challenging times. Last year, we made history by becoming the first Ukrainian team to ever advance to the elimination rounds. This year, we will make history by competing in Vis Moot.
We are extremely grateful to all members of the Vis community who have helped the teams to continue not only their Vis journey, but also their legal education by providing assistance, housing, or internship. That is for us the true spirit of the Vis. And we also respect the decision by others to withdraw from this year's competition. The Vis is all about peaceful dispute resolution. And concerning its side effect, the late Martin Hunter once said, I quote, "My dream is that one day, when there's yet another conflict between two countries, the legal representatives sent to negotiate will recognize each other from the Vis Moot they did decades ago, when they faced the same problem and forged friendship. This, I think, will allow them to resolve that conflict." We believe that education has an impact on individuals. We expect all participants of the Vis Moot, students, coaches, and arbitrators, to continue to contribute to peaceful resolution of conflicts and building a better future without discriminating. This is why we are also considering the social bubble to be so important here as well as in other parts of the world. And we also consider the social other events, even if they're only virtual, to be very important, to form this friendship Martin Hunter was talking about. With that, let me close and refer over to someone who is working for an organization which contributes to a harmonization of law, but also to the peaceful resolution of disputes. All of you have used the model law, and it's my pleasure to introduce as the next speaker from Ancestral, Jose Angelo Estrella Faria. After we had lunch together yesterday in Hamburg, I'm glad that I see you here, that you got the flight. Angelo.
Ladies and gentlemen, supporters of the Moot, directors of the Moot, participants to the Moot. It is a pleasure and an honor on behalf of the Secretariat of Ancestral to welcome you all to this edition of the Vis Moot and to the first social bubble which allows us, at least some of us, to meet in person for the Moot opening ceremony. Ancestral has been privileged to have been involved in the Vis Moot ever since its beginning in the early 90s. As Stefan Kohl has just mentioned, the Moot is named after the first secretary of Ancestral, and the Moot's first director and longtime supporter is a dear friend and former secretary of Ancestral, Professor Eric Bergsten. Ancestral has been working closely with its member states to harmonize and modernize international trade law and developing legal texts on a diverse range of topics, many of which have been reflected in the Vis Moot problems, especially, of course, the CISG, but also transparency rules and other dispute resolution instruments. As Stefan has just mentioned, Ancestral was established out of a vision by the UN General Assembly that friendly trade relations and economic investment promote world peace and human development. And few things can represent that as well as the diversity of geographic origins and legal traditions that we see in the Moot every year. So Ancestral supports the Moot for various reasons, obviously for the effect it has in promoting its instruments, but also in promoting instruments that are based on its instruments. And we're happy to see that this year you'll be pleading on the basis of the rules of the Asian International Arbitration Center in Kuala Lumpur, which are based in the Ancestral model laws, on the Ancestral arbitration rules, sorry. But also Ancestral supports the Moot because we believe it is a unique and indeed an extraordinary learning experience. And if I may share with you only one indication related to my home country, I am a national of Brazil. The Moot created a generation of lawyers who knew the CISG even before Brazil had ratified the CISG. So when it entered into force, the lawyers already knew that there was no reason for excluding the CISG, and it was much better than our domestic law for governing international contracts. This year, for the third time, the oral hearings will be conducted, unfortunately, virtually. It has been a great pleasure to witness the resilience and productivity demonstrated by the 364 teams of 2,337 students from 87 nationalities, especially in view of the different time zones. The schedule of the next days will be difficult for many of you, and I would like to thank in particular our more than 1,000 coaches and the arbitrators for making the most possible by also standing up early and going to bed late. The last year's virtual hearings have become the new normal for dispute resolution, and the Vis Moot is mirroring the challenges that legal professionals already face on a daily basis and hereby prepare the students well for their future. UNCITRAL has been actively responding to this trend of virtual hearings and to the one on digitalization generally. Indeed, the example of the expedited arbitration rules, which UNCITRAL adopted at its last session in July 2021, explicitly empower the tribunal to use any technological means it considers appropriate to conduct the proceedings. And topics related also to dispute resolution in the digital economy are currently under consideration by UNCITRAL Working Group 2, Working Group on Arbitration. So I'm looking forward to seeing the instruments to be developed by UNCITRAL also being part of the moot problems also in the future. I'd like to express a particular thanks to the Association for the Organization and Promotion of the Vis Moot, also known as the Verein, and especially to Stefan Kröll, Christopher Key, and Patrizia Netal to carry forward the huge work of organizing this event. This year, unfortunately, we're not able to invite and welcome you to our offices at the Vienna International Center, where the United Nations is generously hosted by the Republic of Austria. But I welcome you to consult our website, and its resources are available, included not only the online library, the case law database cloud, the Digest on New York Convention, transparency registries, the UNCITRAL text and travaux preparatoires, and work of the working groups. Please accept our best wishes for you and for the 29th Vis Moot. I thank you for this invitation that enables us to be part of the Viennese social bubble, and we look forward to seeing you all in 2023, hopefully in person in Vienna. And I'd like you to bear in mind and perhaps keep this message alive and pass it on to your colleagues also next year. The international community spends an enormous amount of time and effort and resources in developing international harmonization instruments. We do that out of the conviction, as in the founder resolution of UNCITRAL, that we are doing in our narrow field of work what we can to promote peace and friendly relations and economic development. But all this work would be wasted if these instruments are not properly applied and are not known. And you are the ones who will apply it in the future. So we, again, express our deepest recognition to the organizer of the moot for giving this opportunity to future generations of legal professionals that do apply these instruments to share their talent, to admire each other, to compete with each other, and learn from one another. I wish you all the best for the moot. Thank you very much.
A warm welcome also from my side. I'm Patrizia Netal, one of the three co-directors of the Vis Moot. And yes, we are three. You have seen two of us here. Unfortunately, number 3 is missing. Christopher Key is in Australia. He couldn't come to Vienna this year, but he sent a welcome note, and you will see a video where he will also describe and tell you about the numbers in the mood. And you will be quite impressed. Can we see the video, please?
Hello everyone, my name is Professor Christopher Key, and I'd like to add my welcome to this, the opening ceremony of the 29th Willem C. Vis International Commercial Arbitration Moot. As I speak to you, some are gathered in social bubbles, but all of us are located all over the world. I'm in Adelaide, Australia, where the traditional owners of the land are the Kaurna people, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Particularly for those of us sitting in front of our computers and screens, it can sometimes be a little difficult to conceptualise just how international this competition is. So here's a map. That map is showing the locations of 366 teams. Hard to believe that at the first Moot there were only 11 teams. The Vis Moot is supported by an extraordinary Moot family. Welcome to that Moot family. There's an enormous amount of goodwill around the world for this event. People donate huge amounts of time. For example, as we have it now, 1,159 registered participating arbitrators. Then a little overlap with the 1,118 coaches. And of course you, the team members, 2,336 of you. And that's not to mention all the people who've gone before in the past 28 Moots. Some fun facts. As an organising team, we've sent more than 35,000 emails. Fortunately, not all individually. We've received 1,439 clarification requests. You can imagine that's one of Stefan's favourite facts. To date, in the history of the Moot, we've had 840 institutions send teams. Speaking directly to the arbitrators in the audience, this year we've a new way of submitting your scoring. Rather than us chasing you for results, or even asking you to simply email them to us, we now have a facility within your arbitrator accounts to submit your scores directly. This functionality is timed to appear right after the scheduled Moot starts, so don't worry about looking for that button yet. But after the Moot has started, you will see a button next to the hearing in your account. Click on that link and you will be taken through to a page where you can enter the necessary details and scores. We have prepared a video explainer. The process does rely on you being scheduled into the hearing in our system, so if you're an emergency fill-in, don't worry if you can't find the button. In that instance, just email your scores through to our Secretariat team. Now to the student participants. Whilst many of you may not be able to gather together and get to know each other wandering around the streets of the beautiful city of Vienna, we do hope that you will meet each other through various other social media platforms. You may not realise it yet, but so much of your experience is already a shared one. How many of you dreamt about the Moot problem? How many of you have told jokes to family and friends based on the Moot problem? Those friends and family probably didn't quite see what was so hilariously funny. But one of your colleagues, who you've not even met, from a team on the other side of the world, will get it completely. The last piece of advice that I have for you is fairly simple. Have fun. With that, it gives me great pleasure to pass you back to Magister Patricia Netal. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Have fun. We thought a lot about it, and we organized the Moot now for many, many years, although we don't look as we do so. But every year is a challenge by its own. This year, or this Moot year, we didn't know actually what we can do. We didn't know it in October when the COVID numbers ran up and down again. It was not clear in December. Well, in January, we had not been very wise, or wiser. So actually, we were quite spontaneous this year. When we knew how many people are allowed to meet and how many people we can gather. That was actually only clarified at the beginning of March. So please apologize. Any hiccups in the organization, we tried our best. And we came up with the idea to do those social bubbles, with Vienna as the main bubble. We also have a social bubble in Vienna, in London, and in Kuala Lumpur. Why in London? The virtual hearings are conducted by the IDRC. We have worked with them already last year, and that cooperation has turned out to be quite successful. Damien Hickman, you can see him here in the middle, is actually our technical chief officer who runs the spaceship. And he is the person who helps us to run more than 800 virtual hearings in the next 5.5 days. He is marvelous. He also helps us to run the social bubble. So at the moment in London, Vis Moot students gather, hold a reception, watch the live stream, and our greetings from Vienna go to London. We also have a social bubble in Kuala Lumpur. We are very happy about that cooperation. We are choosing this year for the problem the rules of the Asian International Arbitral Center. They have hosted also a social bubble, and as the director is today in Vienna, the team that stayed in Kuala Lumpur thought they're going to run a party today. But we got a video.
After arbitrating rounds in the pre-moot and the Vis East, I have nothing but respect for the efforts put forth by the participants of the Vis Moot. I thank everyone involved, the MAA and Professor Stefan Kroll, for allowing us to be a part of this amazing event, and I wish the students the best of luck and make sure that tomorrow you give your 100%.
I'm very honored to be part of the AIAC's social bubble in conjunction with the 29th Vis Moot social bubble. I hope that they're well versed in the problems and ready to take on the competition tomorrow. I wish them the best of luck, and I leave them with a quote from Imam Malik, a famous jurist from the Islamic world. He said, العلم يؤتى ولا يأتي, which means knowledge doesn't come, but you have to go to it. So be knowledgeable, be strong, and good luck.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to welcome the director of the Asian International Arbitral Center, Tan Sri Datuk Suryadi bin Halim Omar. Welcome in Vienna. The floor is yours.
A very good day, I bid to the organizing committee of the 29th William C. Vis International Commercial Arbitration Moot, distinguished arbitrators, guests, and most importantly, the mooters. As the director of the AIAC, it gives me immense pleasure to provide opening remarks during this year's competition. To start off, I would like to express my gratitude to the Association for the Organization and Promotion of the William C. Vis International Commercial Arbitration Moot, in particular, its directors, Professor Dr. Christopher Key, Professor Dr. Stefan Kroll, and Magister Patricia Natal, for conferring me this distinct honor to deliver the opening remarks here with you in Vienna for the 29th William C. Vis International Commercial Arbitration Moot, or more fondly known as the Vis Moot. I also would like to congratulate the organizing committee for their tireless dedication in working behind the scenes and materializing this year's competition, despite the precarious and uncertain times we are living in. I would also like to thank all the learned arbitrators who will take time from their busy schedule to preside over the rounds and provide the mooters with your valuable insight. Although this year's Vis Moot will be held virtually, like its two previous installments, I think we can all agree that the essence of the Vis Moot remains the same, which is to provide its participants with a global exposure to the study of international commercial law and the resolution of international commercial disputes through the means of arbitration. I am also proud to say that the Vis Moot is undoubtedly one of the most comprehensive, transboundary, and diversified mooting competitions that the global legal fraternity could offer regardless of its operative medium. As such, do not let this virtual setting lower your guard, because our expectations and aspirations towards you remains the same since its inception in 1994. The AIAC is particularly excited for this year's Vis Moot, as the organizing committee had chosen the AIAC Arbitration Rules 2021 as the rules of reference in the moot problem. The 2021 rules, which is the final product from the amalgamation of the Ancestral Arbitration Rules 2013 and the AIAC 2018 Arbitration Rules, serves as a holistic and effective tool in fostering better understanding and utilization for arbitration users, both commercially and academically. Thus, the committee's adoption of our rules in the moot problem is an esteemed acknowledgement of our vision, which to allow greater access to ADR education across the world. As such, we look forward to your kind appraisal and application of our rules in your submission. Last month, the AIAC had the good fortune of witnessing the intelligence and dedication of young mooters during the 6th AIAC pre-moot, with the participation of 100 teams from 41 countries and the commitment of more than 250 arbitrators. We had witnessed the staunch determination of young mooters in making their mark in the arbitral world. To you, the young practitioners and mooters, I take this opportunity to applaud you for taking an active part in this ever-expanding network of alternative dispute resolution. The midnight oil that you had exhausted in researching, training, and drafting your memorials are a testament of your hard work and dedication to improve and challenge yourself despite these trying times. Your hard work will not be left unnoticed as you take center stage in this competition. As such, take this competition as an experience, a journey that fills your cup with joy, tears, lessons, victories, and setbacks, which are all vital components in realizing one's greatest potential. I am reminded of an old Malay proverb. By the way, I'm Malay, so I'm using that. That's about the only proverb that I know. I am reminded of an old Malay proverb which reads, "Hendak seribu daya, tak hendak seribu dalih." This simply means that if you are willing, you can do 1,000 things to achieve it. And if you are unwilling, you can come out with 1,000 excuses. Therefore, remember to keep faith with yourself and your fellow teammates. Heed the training of your coaches and mentors and make the best out of this invaluable journey. On a lighter note, I encourage you to stay open, inquisitive, and take this high-caliber opportunity to not just widen your intellectual horizons, but to also foster meaningful and long-lasting friendships throughout this competition. Share your knowledge, laughter, and remember, a pinch of humility goes a very long way, whether it brings you glory or self-reflection. As we all know, the road to success should not be narrowed down to mere winning and losing, as every step you take represents your aspiration and ambition that only you could charter a way forward. For those who make it, your hard work has paid off. And deserving of the spoils of your victory. As for those who don't, take pride on how far you have come and use it to perpetuate the spirit, the spirit of lifelong learning and competitiveness. As such, I end my speech with the greatest welcome to all of you to the 29th William C. Vis International Commercial Arbitration Moot. Thank you and all the best.
In normal years, the moot is only possible because we have a number of long supporters. And one of the most important one of that is the University of Vienna, which started off first giving us one building, the Juridicum, and then we took another one, and then we took another one. This year, we are modest. We just take Juridicum. But it gives me great pleasure to welcome here not the actual dean, but one of the biggest supporters of the moot in the law faculty, and one of the leading arbitrators of Austria, Professor Paul Oberhammer, who is here in replacement of the dean, but we are sure there couldn't be any better replacement. Paul, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, dear colleagues, about 2 years ago, I expected that the grand opening of the 27th Vis Moot would take place on the 3rd of April 2020 in the Vienna Concerthaus, packed with about 2,000 people. That is what everybody thought, but I was wrong. In mid-March, it became clear that none of this would happen. At the time, I also thought that the 27th Vis Moot itself would not take place. I was wrong again. The Vis Moot team was able to organize an online event for thousands of people with hundreds of hearings within roughly 2 weeks. Back then, this seemed like a miracle to me, and it still does today. Nobody else was able to pull off something even close to that at the time. Last year, the Vis Moot story continued as a virtual one, and once again, it was a huge success story. Nevertheless, it is a great pleasure that this year we can welcome at least some of you back to Vienna on behalf of the University of Vienna. Going places and meeting people has become precious over these past years. Let me say a few words about our sense of purpose as lawyers. I feel that this sense of purpose shows more clearly when we practice dispute resolution in times of war. Some say that the moot is just about rhetorics, and maybe that's true. Some even say that the whole business of law is just about words, and I'm afraid that's also true. Then again, What's the alternative to resolving disputes with words, with mere rhetorics? You all know the answer. The alternative to words is violence. The alternative to mere rhetorics is very real suffering of the vulnerable. The Dean of the Law School of Vienna University, Professor Zechling-Jud, has asked me to welcome you at our university in Vienna, our university which has been the host institution of the Vis Moot for almost 3 decades now. Both Vienna and our law school are good places for international dispute resolution, and therefore the Vis Moot and our university are a perfect match. I do hope that you will enjoy your Moot Week, and I'm convinced that in the end, everyone will be a winner in one way or the other. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. A few words about the social bubble in Vienna. We have this year, under the theme Connect, also Vis Moot Connect. You can connect via our website and the tools sent to you to all the live stream links for this week. There are some events that you might join, being in Vienna or not, but you can connect. There is, from the Moot Alumni Association, a quiz available. There are other tools available. You can message every participant at the Moot. There is a specific tool, and there are other kind of networking opportunities available. So please go to Vis Moot Connect. If you are in Vienna, there are additional possibilities. The very specific ones will be introduced later on by the Moot Alumni Association. I'm not sure if I'm invited there. But please come to the Juridicum, the Faculty of Law, meet other students during the day, have a coffee, start networking. And this is actually, or probably, the first time for students to start with a professional network. And we have heard now from Professor Oberhammer, words are important. Networking is important, to meet people, to connect, and this is why we have decided for this social bubble. Although the pandemic is not over, it's so important that people meet again and talk. Never stop talking. It is important because you can find the common sense if you have different opinions, or you can overcome differences or respect differences. So use your first network to meet students from different countries, from different cultures, and enjoy to build friendships. The Moot was my first network. I have built friendships that have lasted over decades, and they still last. And don't miss this valuable opportunity. In this sense, the Moot also supports specific initiatives. One is equal representation in arbitration. The Moot has signed the pledge. But also other important initiatives that have been recently created and are supported by the arbitration community, such as real racial equality for arbitration lawyers. You might like to become familiar with these initiatives and also support them. So, the most important task for this week, no, it's not pleading, it's meet people, talk to people, build friendships. We heard that the first Moot was with 11 teams. When Eric Bergson organized this first Moot, he came home after the last day and said to his family, well, at least it was not a failure. We know it has turned out to be a success story, and it provides you with the possibility to add to this story. And with these closing words, I hand over to Shalin Tung, who is the president of the Moot Alumni Association, and she will guide you through the later parts in the evening during this week.
It's very bright. It's been a long time since I've seen so many people. As you guys hopefully know, I just flew in from Hong Kong, where we're in the middle of our 5th wave, and seeing everyone in this room is a little bit frightening, but at the same time, brings a lot of joy, because as you've heard multiple times tonight, it's the meeting in person. That's the most important. Now, we know that you've put in, 8 months, 6 months of intense studying, review, practice, and that the next 4 days are going to be some of the most important days of your lives. But at the same time, you do have to remember networking. Meeting people really is key. Now, why am I here? I'm hoping that 90% of what I say today is going to just be repetitive, because I think everybody in this room has participated in at least one pre-moot where a member of the MAA core team has taken part and introduced the MAA already. But just in case you guys were too busy pleading, overlook something, I'm going to repeat it. Now, the Moot Alumni Association, we are a nonprofit organization consisting of academics, students, and professionals, all of whom not only have a tie to the Vis Moot community, but all of whom also have a tie to international arbitration and international trade law. Now, I learned from Chris last year, I didn't hear the numbers this year, we technically should have over 30,000 members. Unfortunately, we don't have 30,000 official members, but we do have over 5,000 official members. What you've heard multiple times today is that being a part of the Vis Moot means you are part of the Vis family. And the Moot Alumni Association is one way to tie you all together and to also just bring forward all of the best memories and the best things that you can see in people. Now, why else am I here? Patrizia put me in a little bit of a difficult spot. Generally, during the Vis Moots in both Hong Kong and here, the MAA organizes a series of events, social events, but also legal seminars and conferences. Now, as you've all heard, and as most of you know, for the last 3 years, the Vis Moots have had to go virtual, and so the MAA has also had to adapt. And hopefully, you guys have had the ability and the pleasure of taking part in our webinar series for the last 2 years. Now, these series will continue, and hopefully we will start putting back conferences or putting on conferences in person again. Another thing about the Moot Alumni Association is that since the time I started with the executive board, we have more than tripled the number of projects that we put on. What should be well known is the Vindabono Journal, which is a publication that is considered one of the top publications worldwide. But we also have a mentor-mentee program. We've got the China Project. We've got regional representatives that span, where we have members worldwide. And we also have a number of other initiatives, including participation in UNCITRAL, where UNCITRAL has afforded the MAA observer status, so they're able to send observers on behalf of the MAA to working sessions. Now, you get more details about the MAA by going to our website, www.maa.net. I encourage all of you to sign up for membership if you haven't already. If you have any questions, you can always find us online, or hopefully you can find me in one of the various cafes here in Vienna this week, eating to my heart's desire. Now, back to how Patrizia put me in a little bit of a difficult position. In light of this pandemic, the Moot Alumni Association has taken the precaution of not organizing any official events. Now, all of you are lawyers or soon to be lawyers, so you understand all of where we're coming from. But I can tell you this, starting from tomorrow, Saturday, until Thursday, the Moot Alumni Association has managed to organize discounts for Vis Moot participants at a very well-known bar called Al Gazelle. I may be saying that wrong, but many of you are laughing, so you know where it is. In the past, that's been deemed the MAA Moot Bar, where all of the participants from the Vis Moot, whether you're an arbitrator, a coach, or a student, gather every evening after the general rounds just to get to know one another, just to chat. Again, not an official Moot Alumni Association event, but I am sure that you will find many members of the Vis Moot community, including myself, there one of those evenings. So please feel very welcome to go. Generally speaking, they also start on Friday evening. Unfortunately, there was a private event. So, another not official Moot Alumni Association event. Tonight, I understand that there will be wonderful deals and a beautiful view at the rooftop bar at the 25-hour cafe. No, wait, it's the 25-hour hotel. If you need any details, you can go check out our website, check out our social media, come find me. Probably won't be able to give you the exact address, just Google. So anyways, we wish all of you the best of luck. We also hope to see you in person, but also virtually. I should also remind everyone that we do also have virtual events this week, including the quiz on the Vis Connect, yes, got that right. So, without further ado, good luck. I hope to see all of you as an official MAA member, and again, have fun this week.
Normally, at this stage, we have Harry Flechtner singing. Don't get worried, yeah, I won't. We have turned it the other way around, so I will first start with some closing remarks, and then Harry will provide a video with his newest song. After this event, there will be a drinks reception. You can leave the room via here, or you can leave the room via there. There are certain rules in Austria. While you drink and eat, there's no need to wear a mask. At all other stages, there is need to wear a mask. And we would strongly encourage you to stay at least healthy until the end of the mood. And we would strongly encourage you to wear a mask. Second, Chris Key mentioned that this year there were only 1,436 questions. You see, I learn as well. When I started off, there were more than 2,000. So I'm slowly moving down. But there are always some questions which are very peculiar and which I tell to my family, and by now they start laughing. Whether it's just because they like me or because they really think it's funny, I don't know. And this year, the question which I found quite interesting was asked by a university, I don't tell you from where. Why was a biology major, Mr. Rain, chosen to be the secretary for the CEO of one of the greatest producers of palm oil? Probably you have not seen the answer to that in procedural question number 2. But it was interesting to hear the explanation why the students wanted to know that. Mr. Rain doesn't seem to be qualified enough to work in the department for sales, seeing that he has no economic background. If staff closeness was the reason for hiring an underqualified secretary, this would help us to argue that claimant carries the risk for legal incorrect contracts. I'm normally disclosing one thing. This is not a flying argument. With that, Harry, the floor is yours, or the screen is yours. Enjoy Vienna, enjoy the mood, and as Patricia said, take the opportunity that you have come here to make friends, to mingle, and also approach us. We will be in the Dachgeschoss most of the time, and looking forward to talking to you in person and not via the computer. The 29th mood is open with the song by Harry Flechtner.
Hello.
I am Professor Emeritus Harry Fleckner from the University of Pittsburgh School of Law in the US. And I am here with a friend who is a wonderful musician, Kathy King.
Hello.
We are going to perform a song that is based on this year's Vis Moot problem.
The song is a dialogue between two of the business executives in the problem. I will perform the part of Claire Bupati, respondent's head of purchase.
And I will perform the part of James Chandra, who is the chief operating officer of Claimant. And so now, with apologies to the great composer and songwriter George Gershwin, here is a musical exploration of choice of law in the 29th Vis Moot problem from the perspective of the business people.
The title of the song is Let's Call the Whole Thing Moot. Our lawyers say tomato.
Our lawyers say tomato.
Ours say apply the CISG.
Ours tell us we don't gotta.
Tomato.
Tomato.
Use the convention.
We don't wanna. Let's call the whole thing moot. We're having a quarrel, so we'll take you to arbitration.
If you think that will work, you've got some imagination.
Dispute resolution is confusing. Don't even know which law we should be using. Let's call the whole thing moot. Different laws are so diverse,
and the world of PIL seems like a wacky universe.
We could go broke paying for arguments about what law applies, during which the lawyers act like squabbling vultures.
I wish the law was like a palm oil plantation, just a
monoculture. A boring choice of law discussion drives us business types to cussing.
But the lawyers seem quite willing, long as we pay them a gazillion.
So let's stop these legal bills we keep seeing.
Yes. Let's just agree to be disagreeing.
Let's call the whole thing moot. Let's call the whole thing moot. And speaking of moot, have a great one.
Good luck.